Hi everyone, Miriam Pinellas with Hasidus' Medicine. We are continuing on in the Maamer, section 4, page 344 in our text. We last described how the 13 midot of Rachamim, the 13 attributes of mercy and infinite goodness that shine down during the month of Elul, present an opportunity for man to come close to God and his will of our own accord. The first part of the name Maamer Ani L'Dodi. So the work of Elul being my ability to come to the king from myself, and that stems from the potential that was created for that by the 13 attributes of mercy. The Rebbe now goes on to explain what does it mean when we say the king is in the field, and that it goes on to say in the Alter Rebbe's Maamer that the king receives them all pleasantly and shows a smiling countenance to all. This is taking place in the field. What does this mean? He's receiving all who have come to greet him. Okay, so it says that for us to receive the radiance that shines down on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, which is a dimension of Elul, that one's service has to be on an elevated level, which is compared to the nation's elite or the select few, those allowed into the palace. Whereas in the month of Elul, the only need is to go out and greet the king, to be in the field. In the analog, this refers to arousing within oneself the acceptance of the yoke of the kingdom of heaven. So this is referring to, from myself, deciding to take on the yoke of the king, which is his mitzvot and his Torah. This is the work of Elul, the work of return. It goes on to say that the revelation of Elul, all this potential and relationship and goodness, extends also to those who are found in the desert of the forces of unholiness. So in the Alter Rebbe's Maamer, the city refers to the sphere of holiness. It contains the palace, the king and his crown, and where the king is most often found. The field of Elul refers to the activities which, although outside the direct sphere of holiness, can be used for holiness. And then the desert is an unsown land, which is outside the sphere of holiness and contains negative influences, the things that block and get in the way of godliness and connection. And it's telling us here that godliness is revealed even there, even to the people who find themselves in a desert and who are unable to leave it of their own accord, to return to Hashem. So the work of Elul is enabling the divine service of everyone, even those in the desert, no matter where a person finds themselves, even if they find themselves that far. And I've heard that from people in my life, and this feeling of not being worthy because maybe one hasn't been connecting for so long, or finds themselves in a hard place, or is trapped by obstacles, unable to take on the king's will. But the Maamer is saying the revelation extends to the field and not to the desert, but that the 13 attributes of mercy can reach every single Jew, even the ones found in the desert. And the revelation gives them the power to leave the desert and come greet the king. Moreover, so that's why it's saying the king receives all of them pleasantly, anyone, no matter where they find themselves. The emphasis is on every single Jew. It includes even those who only desire to greet the king, but are held captive by their evil inclination and can't follow up on it, but still want to meet the king. So the king receives even such individuals pleasantly. Okay? It says in the explanation, they didn't go out to greet the king, but desire to do so. So even not even greeting the king, but just having a desire to want to, Hashem is sensitive to their inner desire and receives them too pleasantly. This arouses within them a powerful and mighty desire to greet the king. And as a result of this desire, they are able to overcome the obstacles and hindrances and return to Hashem into Shuvah. Isn't that gorgeous? So this divine radiance and goodness is extending to all, no matter where a person finds themselves. And even if they can't bring themselves to come greet the king, they're feeling too trapped. Even they, but there's some, they can't do the greeting, but they desire it. Hashem receives them. And it's this receiving with the pleasantness and the smile that it says allows the person to overcome their obstacles. And I think this is such a teacher for us. And the Pirkei Avos says, receive every person with pleasant, sever panim yafo, with a pleasant face and a smile. So this is really pointing to the power of that each of us can have upon each other in receiving each other with warmth and pleasantness, no matter where we find ourselves, and receiving each other without judgment, with pleasantness, and the power of what that receiving can do for another person. Have a blessed evening.